The Battle of Little Bighorn wasn't just a military defeat, it was a carefully orchestrated sacrifice. Newly uncovered evidence reveals how George Custer, the man history remembers as a reckless hero, was actually betrayed by his own government. From secret court-martials to President Grant's personal vendetta, the truth about Custer's last stand has been buried for 150 years, until now. In this explosive investigation, we expose the shocking documents that prove Washington deliberately sent Custer to his death. Discover how corrupt politicians, broken treaties, and a brutal cover-up led to the slaughter of the 7th Cavalry, and why the U.S. Army still doesn't want you to know what really happened on that bloody Montana hillside. To help us in our endeavors, kindly tap the like and subscribe button. George Armstrong Custer entered the world on December 5, 1839, in New Bromley, Ohio, as part of a sprawling family. In his youth, he moved to Michigan to live with an older half-sister and her husband. A bright student, Custer excelled in school and even taught for a year before his military career began. Despite coming from a modest background with no political ties and a penchant for troublemaking, he secured a rare recommendation to West Point at 18. Enrolling in 1857, Custer, though sharp in subjects like history, geography, Latin, Greek, and horsemanship, was a constant discipline issue. Lazy and defiant, he racked up 726 demerits, narrowly avoiding expulsion multiple times and ultimately graduating dead last in his class. The bottom-ranked graduate is often called the GOAT. Such poor performance would usually doom an Army career, but the outbreak of the Civil War created a dire need for officers. Commissioned as a second lieutenant, Custer was stationed in Washington, D.C., where his timing and location helped him forge crucial connections. His first taste of combat came at the First Battle of Bull Run in July 1861. Though critics saw his tactics as rash, Union General George McClellan admired his boldness and added him to his staff. Custer further built his name during the 1862 Peninsula Campaign, gaining a reputation for fearless, if reckless, leadership. Unlike cautious peers, Custer acted on instinct, seizing opportunities others avoided. Dubbed Custer's luck, this trait kept him unscathed, even as his men fell around him. He also cultivated a flamboyant image, courting the press relentlessly. Harper's Weekly even assigned him a dedicated reporter, knowing his dramatic exploits sold papers. His bravery won over Union brass, but his troops often resented his habit of leading charges against impossible odds. On leave in December 1862, he married Elizabeth "Libby" Bacon, a wealthy socialite whose family disapproved of the brash lieutenant. Though childless, Libby frequently joined him in the field, unusual for the era, and their prolific correspondence survives today. In 1863, General Philip Sheridan urged Ulysses S. Grant to promote Custer. At just 23, the flashy West Point GOAT became a brigadier general leading the Michigan Cavalry Brigade. His flamboyant uniforms drew stares, but his effectiveness was undeniable. Like at Gettysburg, where his men thwarted Jeb Stuart's flank attack and captured fleeing Confederates. Yet his victories came at a steep cost. His brigade suffered nearly 300 casualties at Gettysburg, the highest of any Union cavalry unit. Throughout the war, his attrition rates ranged from 25% to 40%, drawing scrutiny. Despite this, Sheridan kept faith in him, especially during the 1864 Shenandoah Valley campaign, where Custer's exploits landed him on Harper's Weekly's cover. Off the battlefield, Custer's gambling, womanizing, and rumored affairs with officers' wives, even widows of his fallen men, tarnished his reputation. But to Sheridan, he remained an indispensable, if controversial, cavalry leader. Custer's cavalry was reassigned to Petersburg, Virginia, where they fought in the Battle of Appomattox Courthouse. There, he executed one of the war's final daring raids, earning him a brevet promotion to Major General and solidifying his status as a national hero. He stood alongside Grant and Sheridan during Robert E. Lee's surrender, with Libby also in attendance. As a token of appreciation, Sheridan gifted Libby the table where the surrender terms were signed. With the war's end, Custer's name dominated headlines nationwide. Though his battlefield achievements were sometimes inflated, the press marveled at his uncanny ability to escape serious injury, some even claiming divine protection. This only reinforced the legend of Custer's luck. Post-war, he toyed with leaving the Army for business ventures, but was persuaded to deploy to the Southwest, where tensions with Native American tribes were escalating. To entice him, the Army established the 7th Cavalry Regiment and offered him command. Though his permanent rank reverted to lieutenant colonel after losing his wartime promotion, Custer and Libby arrived in Kansas in September 1866 to lead the new unit. His men knew his Civil War reputation, both for bold victories and staggering casualties. By spring 1867, Custer was embroiled in campaigns against the Sioux and Cheyenne. His regiment conducted routine scouting patrols to monitor cellars and track tribal movements. While Custer occasionally joined these missions, he often remained behind, and when skirmishes turned deadly, surviving troops accused him of abandoning them. In some cases, he had indeed left his post, including one instance where his absence coincided with fatal ambushes. Charged with desertion and neglect of duty, having been with Libby instead of his men, Custer was court-martialed. Custer's explosive testimony named powerful figures complicit in the expansion agenda. Secretary of State Hamilton Fish, Interior Secretary Zachariah Chandler, Attorney General Edwards Pierpont, Treasury Secretaries Benjamin Bristow, 1874–76, and Lot Morrill, War Secretaries James Cameron, William Belknap, and Alphonso Taft. By exposing these officials, Custer made dangerous enemies. He particularly damaged Belknap, who resigned May 2nd, and the president's brother Orville Grant, revealing their corrupt frontier trading post monopolies that price-gouged soldiers and settlers alike. The scandal widened as Custer exposed how Indian Bureau agents colluded with Belknap and Grant to steal and resell supplies meant for tribal communities. When Custer leaked hearing details and treaty violations to newspapers, he became persona non grata in Washington. The administration, unable to conceal its expansionist schemes, made Custer their primary scapegoat. Custer's testimony conclusively implicated administration officials. An enraged President Grant immediately stripped Custer of command and ordered his arrest when he attempted to return to his troops. Only the intervention of prominent generals, including Sherman, Sheridan, Hancock, and Crook, secured his release. These officers, aware of the truth behind the scandal, pressured Grant into reinstating Custer to avoid political fallout. By May, the forced removal campaign commenced, uniting former rival tribes, Lakota Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapaho, in unprecedented alliance. Sitting Bull organized this historic gathering, joined by legendary leaders including Dull Knife, Northern Cheyenne, Crazy Horse, Cheyenne, and Red Cloud, Oglala Lakota. Grant's policies had inadvertently united the Plains' most formidable warriors, with estimates suggesting 2,000 to 4,000 fighters, assembling along Montana's Little Bighorn River. Only 5 Arapaho representatives attended: Left Hand, of mixed Blackfoot Cheyenne heritage, Yellow Eagle, Yellow Fly, Well-Knowing One, and Waterman. Initially distrusted by the Sioux, they were disarmed and nearly executed, until Cheyenne chief Tumoon intervened, as Left Hand later recounted to Colonel Tim McCoy in 1900. After extensive reconnaissance, Custer's scouts located the massive encampment. Despite the Arapaho's limited involvement, their detained representatives witnessed the growing tension. Custer, opting for a surprise assault, divided his 210 troops into 3 prongs: flanking maneuvers with a frontal diversion, The strategy proved disastrous. Neither Custer nor his immediate command survived, fueling speculation about Major Reno's, his resentful executive officer, and Captain Bentine's failure to provide support, some suggesting deliberate abandonment. 2 days later, recovery parties found the mutilated bodies of Custer, his brother Thomas, a decorated Civil War veteran, and their men. Stripped but unscalped, the 36-year-old commander bore fatal wounds to chest and head. Only a Comanche scout survived. Both his account and tribal testimony described a brutal 2-hour engagement where soldiers, outgunned by native warriors with repeating rifles, stood little chance. The crushing defeat stunned the nation, igniting widespread anti-native sentiment that extended far beyond the participating tribe.